breaking news. Dahil itong si Martin Romualdez at itong si Zaldico ay nag-announce na ang ombudsman na sasampahan na sila ng kaso. Ayan, nag-breaking news kanina na ito raw si Martin Romualdez ay
Narito ang Balitang Pinoy TV.
Pero bago ang lahat, paki-like, paki-share dito sa ating video guys, sa mga nanonood. At sa mga first time dito nanood sa ating YouTube, no, sa Donmar TV. Subscribe na po kayo. Click the notification bell at i-click nyo na yung all, no, para ma-notify kayo. Libre lang naman yan mag-subscribe. Okay? Walang bayad yan. Updated pa kayo sa ating mga trending na balita. Okay, breaking news. Dahil itong si Martin Romualdez at itong si Zaldico ay nag-announce na ang ombudsman na sasampahan na sila ng kaso. Ayan, nag-breaking news kanina na ito raw si Martin Romualdez ay nagtanggang tumakas palabas sa bansang Pilipinas. Yan po ang ating itatalakay ngayon, no? Tingnan lang natin kung itong ombudsman na inilabas na statement nila, itong si Clavano, no, na siya yung spokesperson ng ombudsman. Alam naman natin yung ombudsman na si Rimulya ay hindi na tayo masyadong naniniwala sa mga gimmick nito. Hindi muna tayo maniniwala na ito ay siseryosohin nila na si Martin Romualdez ay sasampahan na raw nila ng kaso. Tingnan lang natin kasi it's better said than done, di ba? Dapat totohanin muna nila. Dapat makakita muna tayo na si Martin Romualdez ay talagang kagaya ng ginawa nila ni Marcoleta at ni Mike Defensor na talagang kinulong nila, no? Kasi po non-bailable naman 'yan, no? Kung sasampahan nila ng kaso na corruption, plunder o kung ano mang isampa nila, tingnan lang natin. Kasi ang sabi ng iba ay gimmick na naman 'yan para may pangsona itong ating bangag na presidente, di ba? At sa kahuli-hulihan ng video na ito ay pakikinggan rin natin ang debate nitong si Jokno at itong si Attorney Powa na kung saan pinagdidebatihan nila kung dapat bang buksan o itong isupina itong bank records ni VP Sara, no? Kung talaga bang tingnan natin, no? May lalabag ba ito sa batas o hindi? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin, ha. Ito, unahin muna natin ito, ha. Itong naglabas ng statement itong ombudsman, no? Tingnan natin kung ano ang laman ito at magre-react tayo. Play.
The Office of the Ombudsman is set to file 2 separate complaints for preliminary investigation against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Mr. Elizaldico, and several other.
Wag puros kuda, ha, kasi nakakaumay na eh. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Nung DOJ pa kayong dalawa ni Rimulya noon, mahilig kayo sa kuda ng bibig ninyo, no? So, ang gusto ng taong bayan ay action, hindi puro salita, ha?
One for plunder under Public Act number 7080 and another for violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act as amended. Let me be precise about what this announcement means and what it does not mean. A complaint for preliminary investigation is not a conviction. It is not, at this stage, a formal charge before a court. It is the office's determination that the evidence gathered is substantial enough to warrant a full and formal inquiry into whether or not the case should be filed in court. Every respondent will be given the opportunity to answer. The presumption of innocence stands, as it must, unless and until proven otherwise in the proper forum. At this point, we will ask the respondents, including former Speaker of the House, Martin Romualdez, to answer the allegations contained in the complaint and put forth his defense. Once we receive his defense and that of his co-respondents, the case will be submitted for resolution, and the decision will lie with the panel of prosecutors whether or not the case should be filed in the Sandigan Bayan. I would like to assure the public that this office follows the evidence where it leads, regardless of the office once held, the influence still wielded, or the political weight of the name involved. Our investigation identifies former Speaker Romualdez as the central figure in a scheme built on the diversion of public funds meant for flood control projects. Funds that were supposed to shield Filipino communities from the very floods that year after year take their homes, their livelihoods, and too often their lives. His co-respondents in this complaint include former Congressman Zaldico, among others. At the core of this case is the testimony this office does not take lightly. Sworn statements from 8 individuals who formerly served as Mr. Ko's own security personnel. People who were present, who moved with him, who witnessed the exchanges firsthand, detailing the amounts delivered from Mr. Ko to former Speaker Romualdez. This is not hearsay passed down secondhand. It is a first-hand account from those who were there. That testimony does not stand alone. It is corroborated by an independent evidentiary trail from money exchange companies to bank transfers to shell companies, all using personalities tied to the former Speaker Martin Romualdez. The former security personnel of Mr. Zaldico record the first trace of money from Mr. Zaldico to the former Speaker. Investigation yields, however, that the money trail did not stop there. In an apparent attempt to cover up the extraordinary wealth, the money was exchanged, commingled, and laundered through an elaborate scheme. The result? Numerous luxury houses and condominiums, extravagant investments in different industries, and enough money left to change narratives, buy opinions, and attempt to destroy and manipulate evidence. Records drawn from the Anti-Money Laundering Council, money service businesses, and corporate structures that our investigators allege were used as an instrument in this scheme, when read together, tell one consistent story. Further, despite a precautionary whole departure order issued by the Sandigan Bayan, this office has received credible intelligence reports that former Speaker Martin Romualdez has not ceased attempting to leave the country. The office calls on all relevant agencies to make sure that this does not happen. Let me make this clear. We are not done collecting evidence. We are not done filing cases. The investigation reveals more and more each day and each week. To look away at this point is contrary to the very mandate of this office. So, we build cases as the evidence comes, and each element and crime becomes more apparent. As more come, the more we work, and the more our cases churn. To every Filipino who has watched this scandal unfold with mounting anger and mounting doubt, who has asked again and again whether accountability would ever reach the top of the scheme, or whether it would stop, as it so often has, somewhere in the middle. I say to you, the evidence has spoken, and this office has acted on it. Funds meant to hold back floodwaters were instead allegedly diverted into private hands, while communities were left exposed to the very disasters those funds were meant to prevent. The betrayal deserves and will receive the full and fair weight of the law. This office will provide further updates as these complaints proceed through preliminary investigation. We thank the media for their continued diligence in covering this case, and we thank the Filipino public for their patience as due process, real due process, is allowed to run its course. Maraming salamat.
Pagkatapos doon sa announcement na yun, ito yung sumunod. Ewan ko lang ha kung sinadya ba ito ni Martin Romualdez? Ha? Na talagang iiwas siya dito, na natakot siguro siyang magaya siya ni Marcoleta at ni Mike Defensor na totohanin. Kasi duda ko parang, nagdududa lang ako ha, parang drama lang siguro ito, no? Para magmukhang parang sasabihin ng wala na kasing naniwala dito sa kay BBM Baka inutusan ito ni ni BBM itong si Remulla na totohanin mo na yung si Martin Romualdez para naman tataas yung rating ko, parang ganun ba. Pero parang si Martin Romualdez rin, baka totoo, gagayahin niya si Zaldico na parang iniiwasan na niya, baka seryosohin na siya. Ewan ko lang ha. Hindi ko muna pangunahan, pero ito na yung sumunod. Pagkatapos doon, ito, panoorin ninyo.
Ibinunyag ngayon ang tanggapan ng ombudsman na nakakuha umano sila ng intelligence report sa munoy tangkang pagtakas palabas ng bansa ni dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Kahit kahit pa may umiiral na precautionary hold departure order at nasa kasagsagan ng investigasyon ito pong ombudsman kaugnay sa pagkakadawit ito sa anomalya sa multimilyong pisong flood control projects kickbacks.
At dahil dyan, nananawagan ngayon ang ombudsman sa mga law enforcement agency na may kontrol sa border security ng bansa na bantayan ang galaw ng dating House Speaker. TJ Mendoza sa balita.
Nagtatangkaw manong lumabas ng Pilipinas si dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Yan ang natanggap na credible intelligence report ng Office of the Ombudsman kahit pa may precautionary hold departure order na inilabas ng Sandigan Bayan laban sa dating leader ng Kamara.
The office calls on all relevant agencies to make sure that this does not happen. Let me make this clear.
Nananawagan ng Ombudsman sa law enforcement na may kinalaman sa border security para mabantayan ang galaw ng dating speaker.
So kaya namin siguro nire-remind yung ating law enforcement agencies, pati na rin ang ating border control, please watch out dahil malamang sa hindi niyan, lalabas ho siya sa informal channels at hindi sa formal borders natin.
Hindi pa raw tapos ang ombudsman na mangolekta ng ebidensya at sa napipintong pagsasampa ng kaso laban kay Romualdez. Lalo pat ang plunder at money laundering complaint na inihahanda ng ombudsman ay iaakyat na sa preliminary investigation ngayong araw. Ibig sabihin, hihingan na ng counter affidavit o kontra salaysay ang dating speaker para mailatag nito ang depensa sa mga reklamong iniuugnay sa kanya na isa siya sa nasa likod ng maanumalyang flood control scandal.
Pagkatapos, sasabihin, absuelto. Di ba? Wag mo nang magmamayabang, Remulla, na ganun preliminary investigation. Totohanin nyo na. Kung talagang para sa taong bayan yung ginagawa nyo, unfair naman sa part ni Mike Defensor at ni Marcoleta. Sige, ikulong nyo rin si Martin Romualdez. Tingnan natin kung totoo ba yan. Huwag puros kuda.
Kasama nito sa reklamo si dating Appropriations Chairman Elizalde Zaldico. Isa sa ginamit na ebidensya ng ombudsman ay ang mga salaysay ng 8 sa 18 Maleta Boys.
It is not, at this stage, a formal charge before a court. It is the office's determination that the evidence gathered is substantial enough to warrant a full and formal inquiry into whether or not the case should be filed in court.
Wala pang sagot ang kampo ng dating speaker kaugnay sa pahayag ng ombudsman. Pero paano kung sakaling umalis na ng bansa si Romualdez? Ano ang mangyayari sa mga reklamong nakahain sa kanya sa anti-graft body?
Parang niwe-waive na po niya, actually, niwe-waive na po talaga niya yung kanyang karapatan para sumagot at maghain ng counter affidavit na ang nilalaman ho niyan ang kanyang depensa. No? So, we will have to resolve the case on the basis na lang po dun sa allegations sa complaint. So, wala na po siyang chance to defend himself in this forum.
Dumistansya naman ang palasyo sa investigasyon ng maanumalyang flood control scandal.
Kung saan po pupunta ang ebidensya. Sundan na lang po natin. So,
Sis, ang daming drama ninyo. Hugas kamay pa kayo. Lahat namang yan utos yan. Director yan si BBM. Di ba? Ewan ko lang kung kasabwat yung script ninyo. Ako I personally believe na ito, drama lang ito. Kasi kapag si Romualdez ay siseryosohin ng ombudsman na kasuhan talaga, aabot itong investigasyon na ito sa presidente. Hindi natin alam kung si Martin Romualdez at si BBM meron silang pinag-usapan dito. Ipalabas natin ito na ganito, ganyan. Pagkatapos niyan, i-absuelto ka lang. Parang sabihin talaga, ipamukha talaga sa taong bayan na may ginagawa talaga ang administrasyon. Ang pangalawa, kung seryoso ito, ito lang ang ma-advise ko kay Martin Romualdez. Martin Romualdez, kung seryoso ito, sabihin mo na ang totoo. Sabihin mo na ang totoo na may alam ka ba na tumatanggap rin si BBM, tumatanggap rin ng maleta. Sabihin mo na ang totoo. Ewan ko lang talaga. Tingnan lang natin ang takbo nito. I cannot judge kaagad sa pangyayaring ito. Unless talaga kung ikulong nila si Martin Romualdez.
kung ano po ang mangyayari sa anumang pag-iimbestiga dito, hindi po makikialam ang Pangulo at tatanggapin po ito.
Sinusubukan pa namin kuhanan ng Bureau of Immigration kaugnay pa rin sa Intel report na natanggap ng anti-graft body. TJ Mendoza, para sa mata.
Ay nako, ewan ko na lang. Ewan ko na lang talaga. Tingnan lang natin. Pero kung totoo man na nagtangkang tumakas si Martin Romualdez, bakit ka magtangkang tumakas? Yan ang tanong, di ba? Kung tumakas ka, iniiwasan mo ang batas. O talagang, totoo bang ikaw ang mastermind dito? O, baka natakot na siya. Baka kung ano yung nafe-feel ni Zaldico, yun rin ang nafe-feel ni Martin Romualdez. O kasi syempre, ikaw, kung marami ka na talagang pera na nilikom, no? Pwede kang tumakas at hindi ka na babalik sa Pilipinas. You have all the money para igasta sa ibang bansa. Wala, since barya lang yan sa kanila kung sila ay pupunta sa ibang bansa at doon na sila mag-spend ng kanilang money. Barya lang yan. Kasi baka inanalyze nila, patay tayo dito kapag si BP Sara na sa 2028, makukulong na talaga tayo dito. Kaya sa simula pa lang ngayon, tatakas na tayo. Pwedeng ganun, ha? Pwedeng ganun. Nag-analyze lang tayo, ha? Pwedeng ganun ang mangyari, kaya tatakas na sila. Ewan ko na lang. Let us gawa lang tayo ng parang scenario na posibleng ganun ang mga mangyayari. O heto po yung panglilihis ng flood control sa paghahanap ng mastermind ng flood control. Sa kabilang banda, ito rin ang banat ng administrasyon. Itong impeachment na useless.
Yung pong search warrant, kung ano man ang makuhang ebidensya doon, ay direktang binibigay po yun sa court, and that is now considered as evidence by the court that issued the search warrant. Iba po ang subpoena, dahil pag naglabas ang isang hukuman ng subpoena, itong mga records ay hindi po siya considered yet as evidence. Yan po ay ipoproduce lang, dadalhin lang po sa korte, and now it is up to the parties, and I refer to both parties, to decide which of those documents may be relevant in terms of the evidence that they are need to present.
Because in impeachment, as we have said, merong allegation ng unexplained wealth, pero wala naman pong nakasuporta na mga documents para makita natin ano ba yung basis na naging aligasyon. Pangalawa po, again in impeachment, according to the case of Duterte versus House of Representatives, meron po tayong tinitingnan kung ano ba talagang impeachable offense. At yun po ay again, offenses or acts or omissions committed while the public officer is occupying the impeachable office and in relation to such office. That enough, Your Honors, is very clear under the decision.
Ayan, yun yung highlight ha. Tingnan natin
I'd like
ang
to
kabuhan.
start this discussion with a question that hopefully will allow our kababayans who are watching, listening, to understand the situation. Of course, I pose it also to the parties. If the government had in mind that there's a business, and of course, a particular businessman or businesswoman who is violating a lot of laws pertaining to the operation of their business, be it customs law, BIR, regulations, can they just proceed and pwede ba silang basta na lang mag-request ng dokumento o mag-file ng kaso na requiring the businessman and the corporation to produce those documents? Pwede ba? So yun ang pag-isipan natin, no? Kasi yun ang tanong eh. Similarly, ginagawan ko lang ng ibang analogy para maintindihan mga kababayan natin. So this is the essence, dear colleagues, parties, of the principle of due process. This is ingrained in our Constitution. Totoo po na may karapatan ang gobyerno at obligasyon ng gobyernong patakbuhin ng maayos ang gobyerno, but it's always with due respect to the rights of every individual Filipino. That is the right to life, liberty, and property. So bago mo sagasaan yung right to life, liberty, and property, siguraduhin mo lang na may basihan ka. Yun lang naman ang sabi. So of course ako, gusto ko talaga na maayos ang patakbo ng gobyerno para if somebody's life is also in danger, then government has to step up and prevent somebody's liberty. Kasi nga, sinasagasaan niya yung life and liberty ng ibang tao. So it's a balance, no? I think we can all agree it's a balance. So I want to go straight into a landmark case and I will ask both parties for their legal opinions on it kasi it is a legal proceeding. Pero gawin nyo lang simple para hindi masyado complicated para sa mga nakikinig sa atin. So in the landmark case of Stonehill versus Diokno, 1967 pa po to, karamihan ng mga lawyers hindi pa pinapanganak. The importance of due process was highlighted and the Supreme Court discussed 2 points. General warrants are void. Sabi ng Supreme Court, a warrant must be issued on probable cause for one specific offense and must particularly describe the thing being seized. So kailangan particular ang description dun sa warrant. Warrants that leave it to the discretion of the officer serving them to decide what to seize or general warrants are outlawed by the Constitution because they place the sanctity of the home and privacy at the mercy of prosecutors. So sinabi dito na kailangan specific. Take note warrant ito ha. So naman ang pinag-uusapan natin. Alam ko po yun. Pero I'm pointing it out kasi ang magiging tanong ko later on is kung relevant ito sa kaso. Okay? The other principle that was established in Stonehill versus Diokno was the exclusionary rule. Evidence obtained through an unconstitutional search is inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. Ito po yung tinatawag na the fruit of the poison tree. Pag nakuha mo yung information dun sa bawal na paraan, kung ano yung information mo, bawal ipakita yon. And this is where I need to get guidance from the presiding officer. If I'm allowed, I don't have to name names, to share the discussion that we had in caucus para lang mabanggit ko na ito yung mga provisions of law na napag-usapan. Am I allowed to do that? Would you like me to approach you? Please let me know because I will abide. Basically, because ang nangyari is we had our own discussion and I want to mention the provisions of law that we discussed. I don't have to mention names.
The lady may proceed.
Okay, thank you. So, tungkol dito sa exclusionary rule, ulitin ko, fruits of the poison tree, doon nga sa aming very open discussion and I thank many of our colleagues who were I think we engaged in a fruitful discussion for some, not for all. I think yung iba talagang gustong makipag-debate at di-debate kasi gusto ko rin matuto, no? I think all of you will attest na I also wanted to learn from all of you kung anong perceptions nyo sa batas, kung ano din yung sinasabi ng mga abogado nyo. So doon sa fruits of the poison tree, sabi ko, kung yung pinanggalingan ng mga dokumento bawal na kunin ng basta-basta, then paano mo gagamitin? And meron kasing observation na lumabas na kasi yung documents na yon sa House. So nakita na ng publiko sa House. So sabi ko, pero if I will look at, and this is where I will pose the question to all of you, no? Medyo layered so pasensya na sa medyo complicated. Yung isang concern ng defense na nabasa ko is that hindi nag-allege ng ultimate facts. Hindi klaro kung ano yung naging kasalanan at hindi na-identify ng maayos itong facts na to that lead to a conclusion of law. So, wala daw yun. Later on, I will ask both parties again to also clarify that. But the point is, kung walang basihan yung paglabas ng ebidensya na yon, it is the fruit of the poison tree, then you cannot use it. So, yun yung importante dito kasi I'm sure nakita nyo sa korte kahit sabihin nyo pong sa mga legal drama na throw out, the case is thrown out because na-violate ang due process. So that's the discussion I want to have. I want to hear both ha. Wala akong kinikilingan dito. I'm just explaining na yun yung argument ng defense na walang due process, kulang, at why prosecution would you say na nasusunod yung due process. And before I give the floor to the parties, yung sinabi kong kaso na Stonehill versus Diokno, very interestingly, involves the esteemed father of our colleague, Congressman Prosecutor Chel Diokno. In the case of Stonehill versus Diokno, the father of Congressman Diokno was the Secretary of Justice. And in this case, the government, through the Secretary and other prosecutors, suspected that Harry Stonehill and his associates and several corporations that they controlled were violating central bank laws, tariff and customs laws, Internal Revenue Code, and the Revised Penal Code. So nag-request sila ng issuance of search warrant. At ang gusto nilang tingnan is books of accounts, financial records, vouchers, receipts, ledgers, etc. and other documents showing all the business transactions. Stonehill and the other petitioners filed a petition before the Supreme Court arguing that the search warrants were general warrants because they did not particularly describe the things to be seized. So, general pa pala yun. Books of accounts, financial records, receipts, general pa pala yun. And the Supreme Court ruled that indeed, general warrants are void. Warrants must be based on probable cause. Nasabi ko na yun, ano? And then the case also adopted the exclusionary rule holding that evidence seized under an unconstitutional warrant is inadmissible. So, I now pose my questions. Applicable po ba ang kaso na ito, Stonehill versus Diokno, as far as the prosecution is concerned, and then also for the defense, applicable? Take note, I've read most of the pleadings, well, all of the pleadings, mahahaba sila. I kinda know your answer, but sa dami, I like to hear it again, and I think, of course, karamihan ng kababayan natin did not read it. So explain natin sa kanila, because this is a landmark case. Kung ikaw ay law student na magbabar, ito yung mga kasong titingnan mo. So malay mo, matanong yan sa bar. So nakatulong man lang tayo dun sa mga bar students na maliwanagan sila. Baka mamaya trick question to. Is it applicable or not? That is my question. I will sit down and then I will come back for my next. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may be recognized.
The member of the panel of prosecutors may proceed to give his answer. Thereafter, the counsel for respondent may do so as well.
Iba po ang konteksto ng search warrant na naging main issue sa Stonehill versus Diokno. Sa konteksto po natin na subpoena ang pinag-uusapan. Ang search warrant po, ang governing law po dyan ay nasa Bill of Rights natin, Article 3, Section 3. At kaya siya nandun dahil very invasive po ang search warrant. Pag ang isang judge ay nag-issue ng search warrant, pwedeng pasukin yung opisina o yung bahay ng person involved, pwedeng halungkatin yung lahat ng mga gamit niya doon sa kanyang opisina o sa kanyang bahay. Kaya po naglagay ng...
Kaya nga pambababoy na yung ginagawa ninyo sa buhay ng Vice Presidente eh. 'Di ba? Bank secrecy law, ganun lang, kasimple.
Aming limitasyon ang ating konstitusyon dahil marami ng pang-aabuso, marami ng mga halimbawa ng pang-aabuso na nangyari kahit noon pa. Iba po ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay subpoena. Hindi po ito license to enter an office or to search any place. Ito po ay mismong humihiling lang ng mga dokumentong nakasulat sa loob ng subpoena. Therefore, the contexts are very different. When we speak of a search warrant, I do agree there should be very specific limitations on how that warrant can be enforced. Pagdating naman po sa subpoena, meron din po yan, but that is not governed by the Constitution. It's governed by Rule 20.
Ito na nga mga kabalita. Ano na ang masasabi nyo patungkol sa balitang ito? Please comment down below mga kabalita. Pag-usapan natin yan sa comment section. At kung di ka pa nakasubscribe sa ating channel, baka naman